Welcome to Minikun Tutorials. In today's tutorial, we're going to discuss two of the most frequently asked questions regarding YouTube payments. And the first question has to do with when does YouTube pay you, and secondly, when does Google AdSense pay you. I decided to split it into two like this for a better understanding. So let me explain to you what I mean by when does YouTube pay you. Generally, YouTube has made us understood that, or Google AdSense for that matter has made us understood that it no longer shows YouTube metrics or other monetization metrics of YouTube on Google Google AdSense revenue report. So what that means is that initially you could click on revenue reports and see your earnings. Right now it's no longer like that. But under normal circumstances, when you click on payments, you are supposed to see your monthly earnings for YouTube. When I said monthly earnings, I think I've already given you a clue on when YouTube should pay you, but we look at the details, the dates and the specifics. Okay, so when you click on payments, you are supposed to see your YouTube payments here. Okay, now the question is, when does YouTube actually pay you on a monthly basis? When does YouTube pay you? In other words, when does YouTube payments display in your Google AdSense account on a monthly basis? This is the first question. So when does YouTube pay you? And secondly, when you finally reach the maximum threshold, remember that this is the default. Here in Europe or here in France is 70 euros. In your country, it might be any amount. It will be the equivalent of your currency, and you could also increase it or to any amount that you want. You know, I maintain the 70 euros. Now the second question is, when I finally reach the maximum threshold, as you can see, for instance, at the end of January, I had, let's say, 88 point something euros. So since I've reached the maximum threshold, now when should I expect Google AdSense to pay me? In other words, when would Google AdSense transfer my 70 euros into my bank account? So this is the second question. And to respond to these two questions, I decided to consult Google AdSense help. And let me read the answers that I had from Google AdSense. For instance, I realized that many other people ask similar questions. Okay, so we had, for instance, this particular question. This is to respond to the first question, which has to do with when should you always expect your earnings from YouTube to reflect in your Google AdSense account on a monthly basis. So somebody said AdSense not showing any payment or data from YouTube. Okay, I've already explained that even though AdSense no longer shows your AdSense has made it clear to us that it no longer displays YouTube metrics, or if you want YouTube monetization metrics and whatever in the revenue report. However, when you click on payments, as I showed you, when you log into your Google AdSense account and you come and click on payments, you are supposed to see your payments displayed here. So in case you cannot find your payments displayed here, when should you expect it to display? If only you have verified your address, your payment address, and you have a valid Google AdSense account connected to your YouTube account. So when should you expect these payments? Okay, so let's see. Like I said, there are several answers, but we'll pick this one. This one is shorter. So before I read the answer that is here from Google AdSense, let me give you an idea on when YouTube pays you, or when YouTube payments reflect in your Google AdSense account. Your YouTube payments will always reflect on your Google AdSense account between the 10th and the 14th of the month. And these earnings always reflect the earnings of the previous month. For example, my earnings for the month of January will reflect in the month of February, between the 10th and the 14th of February. My earnings for the month of February will reflect in my AdSense account between the 10th and the 14th of what? March. I personally, it usually reflect on the 11th, but it depends on your place. It might reflect on the 13th, it might reflect on the 14th, it might reflect on the 11th, but it's always somewhere between the 10th and the 14th of the month. So this has to do with what YouTube payments. okay, that's YouTube payments in your Google AdSense account. Now, when you finally reach the maximum threshold, AdSense paying you or through bank transfer or whatever means, that is a second question that we will address. So now we are just dealing with YouTube payments appearing in your Google AdSense account. When should you always expect it? So let me read this answer. They are saying that AdSense doesn't show any day-to-day earnings. So this is what we have to note. Your earnings is not day-to-day. So like as I explained, okay. So they are saying that, as I explained, your YouTube earnings will always reflect in your Google AdSense account on day-to-day basis. Okay, so they are saying AdSense doesn't show any day-to-day earnings or other statistics related to YouTube, but it should be showing finalized earnings up to the end of August in your balance. So this person probably definitely asked a question in July, and they are telling him that the earnings for the month of July will reflect in where? In August, in his balance. If only his AdSense account is correctly attached to his YouTube account, and he has, of course, verified his payment address. And they're also saying that September's earnings won't appear in your AdSense account until you have been rechecked and finalized in sorry, let me read it again. They're saying that September's earnings won't, when they say September, you don't just take it literally. The person asked the question in July, so they told him that his earnings for July will appear somewhere between the 10th and the 14th of August. So in the same way, his earnings for the month of September will appear in his AdSense account, somewhere in mid-October. So they are saying that September's earnings won't appear in your AdSense account until they have been rechecked and finalized in YouTube, and then sent to AdSense around the middle of October. Like I explained to you, always between the 10th and the 14th of the month. So September's earnings will reflect between the 10th and the 14th of October. October's earnings will reflect between the 10th and the 14th of November. Today, as I'm recording the video, we are in January, right? So that my earnings for January will reflect between the 10th and the 14th of February. My earnings for December 2020 was actually paid to me on the 11th of January. My earnings for January will be paid between the 10th and the 14th of February. My earnings for February will be paid between the 10th and 14th of March. That of March between the 10th and 14th of April. So this answers the question when you should always expect your YouTube payments to reflect in your Google AdSense account. So I hope this is clear. Now let's tackle the next question. Now the next question is, when you finally reach the maximum threshold, when are you supposed to expect the 70 euros or whichever amount that you have set for yourself? As I explained to you, this is the default threshold. I just maintain it to be 70 euros, but I could have increased it to any amount by clicking on settings right below here, but I maintain it at 70. So as you can see, my current balance in January 2021 is how much? 88 point something. So it means I've exceeded 70 euros. Now the question is, when should I expect my 70 euros, which is the maximum threshold that I set for myself, to reflect in my bank account? I haven't yet received it anyway. I was like, what triggered me to search for the answers was that on the 11th of January, when I finally received my earnings for the month of so as you can look at my transactions here, please, you see that at the end of November I had 59.19 euros. Now at the end of December I had 88 point something. So it means I earned about 29 point something euros for the month of December. Now this 29 point something euros was actually paid or actually reflected in my YouTube account, in my AdSense account between the 10th and the 14th of January, precisely on the 11th of January. So if when I finally received my 29 euros earnings for the month of December on the 11th of January, that increased my earnings from, you see that my balance at the end of December was 59, so I earned 29. That 29 for the month of December increased my initial balance of 59 now to 88.9. okay, and now the 29 euros, as I explained, was paid to me on the 11th of January. So what that means is that my earnings for the month of January will appear on the 11th of February, or somewhere between the 10th and the 14th of February. This is how YouTube payments appear in your Google AdSense account. That has been established. However, when I finally received my payments for the month of December, that is on the 11th of January, that payment, the payments for the month of December actually increased my earnings or my balance from 59 to what, 88 point something. So let's say right on the 11th of January, when I received the 29 point something, that increased my balance from 59 now to 88 point something, exceeding the 70 euros threshold. I was supposed to have received my money directly in my bank account. This is what I thought, but which isn't the case. So what that means is that on that particular day that you receive your last payment, which will increase which will now cause your balance to exceed the payment threshold, don't think that, okay, on that particular day you are going to receive your money in your bank account. There is a separate process, and that is the second question, which has to do with when will Google AdSense now pay you. In other words, when will Google AdSense transfer your money into your bank account? So when will Google AdSense transfer my 70 euros into my bank account? Remember, on the 11th of this month, on the 11th of January, I received my last payment of 29 euros for the month of December, which increased my balance now to 88 currently in January. However, I haven't yet received the money. So this is where the search details comes. So I decided to consult Google AdSense for help once again, and this is what I found. Okay, so as you can see here, they are talking about what? Payment timelines for AdSense, and they are saying that the AdSense payment is the AdSense payment cycle is the AdSense payment cycle is monthly, you know, or if you want, you could say it's monthly, depending on your AdSense. So the AdSense payment cycle is monthly, as I explained, you know. So you accrue estimated earnings over the course of the month, as I explained now, and then at the beginning of the following month, your earnings are finalized and then posted to your balance on your payments page. This is what I've already explained. So you accrue monthly payments, right? Or you accrue payments, or whatever, how you want to put it, and then at the end of the month, all those payments will be finalized, and then at the beginning of the month, somewhere between the 10th and the 14th, it will reflect over here. Okay, now let's see what they are going to say next. They are saying that if your balance exceeds the payment threshold and you have no payment holds, okay, so if my balance exceeds the payment threshold, as you can see, this is my balance today has exceeded the payment threshold that I've set for myself. Okay, and when we are talking about payment hold, I could have clicked over here and then set myself a payment hold. A payment hold is simply telling AdSense when it should pay you. instead of, for instance, because by default there is a time that AdSense has to respect, you know. After you reach the maximum threshold, AdSense is supposed to pay you between the 21st and the 26th. You know, we'll go back to that. But I could have clicked over here at settings and then put a payment threshold and tell AdSense, for instance, pay me after 3 months, pay me after 1 year or something. In addition to that, I could have increased my threshold. If I had increased my threshold, then it means I would have had to wait, right? I wouldn't have reached the threshold, but I maintained my threshold to be 70 euros, and gradually I've reached my 70 euros. However, after meeting the threshold, it doesn't mean on that particular day I will have my money in my bank account, because there is a time that AdSense respects. Like I said, it pays between the 21st and the 26th. So your usual earnings will always come. Your usual YouTube earnings will always reflect in your bank account between the 10th and the 14th of the month. Your when you finally reach the threshold, so what that means is that since I finally reached the 70 euros on the 11th, it doesn't mean on the 11th I will receive my money, but I will actually receive my money in my bank account between the 21st and the 26th. If only I haven't fixed any payment hold. That is, if only I haven't clicked on settings and instructed AdSense to pay me after some month period or after some time period. So let's come back and read the details. Okay. So they are saying that if only your balance exceeds the payment threshold, like in my case, I've exceeded the payment threshold. When I received my payment for the month of December on the 11th of January, my payment, my final balance was 88.9. So 88.9, as you can see, has exceeded the payment threshold, which is 70 euros. Okay, and I do not have any payment threshold. I haven't asked AdSense to pay me on any particular date. So let's see what next. Since I don't have any payment threshold, then you will be issued a payment between the 21st and the 26th of the next month. Of the month. Okay, of the month. So since let me explain once again. On the 11th of January 2021, I received my earnings for the month of December, and my earnings for the month of December increased my balance, which was 59 point something, now to 88 point something. This 88 point something in the month of December, or what should I say, as my balance, my total balance at the end of December, has now exceeded the 70 euros. The 70 euros threshold that I set for myself. Now, I was supposed to receive the money in my bank account. However, I didn't receive it, you know. But AdSense is telling me that I will receive the money not on the 11th of January that I exceeded the 70 euros, but rather on between the 21st and the 26th of January. So this applies to you. It depends on, you know, any month at all. Take it from me that your YouTube earnings will always reflect in your AdSense account between the 10th and the 14th of every month. Now, when you finally reach the maximum threshold, which is what, 70 euros, in my case, yours might have been 100 euros, whichever one that you set for yourself. When you finally reach that particular date, it means on that particular day that you receive your final YouTube earnings, usually between the 10th and the 11th of that month, it doesn't mean on that particular day you are going to have your 70 euros or whatever amount that you set for yourself in your bank account, but you have to wait till the 21st, or you have to wait between the 21st to receive the money in your bank account between the 21st and the 26th, if only you don't have any payment hold, of course. So let me finally read it. Okay, so they are saying that you will be issued a payment between the 21st and the 26th of the month. Note that the exact time you receive your payment will depend on, sorry for the interruption, will depend on your your time zone, or if you want your time, sorry, let me take it again. Note that the exact time you receive your payment will depend on your time zone, whether the 21st falls on a weekend or a holiday, and your chosen form of payment. Okay, so when we talk of the payment method or the chosen form of payment, which one did I choose? I chose EFT, electronic funds transfer. Okay, so I'm going to show you the details in case you are using electronic funds transfer or wire transfer. I mean, you'll have the time of waiting will vary. So I keep repeating, we have been made to understand that our YouTube earnings will always appear in our AdSense account when between the 10th and the 14th of the month. Now, and I've also made it clear to you that these payments that you receive between the 10th and the 14th of every month reflect your earnings for the previous month. When you finally reach the maximum threshold, okay, when you finally reach the maximum threshold, which is 70 euros in my case, yours might be different. AdSense is telling you that it will also take some time for AdSense to transfer this money into your bank account. So so what that means is that you will not receive the money in your bank account right on the 11th of the month, or right on somewhere between the 10th and the 14th of the month, when you finally receive your last payment and that made you exceed the payment threshold. That's not going to happen. You have to wait till, for instance, I received mine on the 11th of January, and that increased my balance to now 88 point something, which has exceeded the payment threshold. But I never received my 70 euros in my bank account on the 11th. So I have to wait till when? Till between the 21st and the 26th of January to receive my money in my bank account. However, depending on the payment method, you might have to wait either more or less. So I'm using EFT, electronic funds transfer, and let's see, for electronic funds transfer, let's come over here, sale under AdSense help. They are saying that for electronic funds transfer or EFT, it will appear in that's if you are using that. EFT is a form of bank payments. We also have wire transfer, which is another form. So if you are using EFT, your payments, AdSense will pay you. That's to say, AdSense will actually transfer your YouTube earnings into your bank account after 4 to 10 days. After 4 to 10 days after your payment, or after your last payment. Do you get what I'm saying? So what that means is that since I am using EFT, and I told you that I usually receive my YouTube earnings on the 11th of every month. So when I receive my earnings on the 11th of January, and that increased it to 88 point something, and that has now surpassed my payment threshold, and I was supposed to receive my money, I'm now supposed to wait when? Between 4 to 10 days after the 11th. So 4 to 10 days at most, or let's say latest by 21st. So if you add 10 days, 4 to 10 days, okay? So if I should add 10 days to 11th of November, 11th of January, I will get what? 21st of January. So I have to wait till 21st of January to now have my money in my bank account. Now let's see, in case you are using this for EFT, right? So EFT takes 4 to 10 days after you have received your last payment that made you exceed your payment threshold. Now, in case you are using, so let me read it for you simply. For EFT or electronic funds transfer, like in my case, I have to wait 4 to 10 days after I received my last payment, which was on the 11th of January. So I have to wait 4 to 10 days. So that will be around the 21st of January to receive the funds in my bank account once the payment process has begun. Okay, the payment process began when? It began on the 11th of what? January. So I have to wait 4 to 10 days after the 11th of January. That will be around when? The 21st of January to receive the payments in my bank account. With regards to wire transfer, this may take what? 15 days. So if you add 15 days to 11th of January, that will be the 26th of January for the money to arrive in your bank account. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope my explanation was clear. Before I end the video, let me repeat it once again. Let me come to my Google AdSense account and repeat it just for the benefit of the doubt. So we are saying that in your Google AdSense account, your payments at the end of every month will always appear between the 10th and the 14th of the next month. So my payments for the month of December appeared in my Google AdSense on the 11th of what? January 2021. Now my payments for the month of January 2021 will appear when? On the 11th or somewhere between the 10th and the 14th of what? February 2021. That of February somewhere between the 10th and 14th of what? March, in that order. Now when you finally reach the payment threshold, it doesn't mean on that particular day, on the day of your last payment, the money will be transferred directly into your bank account. So on the day of your last payment, when you finally crossed the threshold, you will have to wait for some time. And they are saying that you will have to wait for 4 to 10 days in case you are using EFT or electronic funds transfer. You have to wait for somewhere. So it means you should expect the money on the 21st of the month in case you are using EFT. In case you are using wire transfer, you should expect it on the 26th of the month. So that's to say, for EFT, right after the last day you received your payment, you should wait for 4 to 10 days to receive the money in your bank account. But for wire transfer, you should wait for 15 days to receive the money in your bank account. So I hope my explanation was clear. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.